Very good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Sims for giving me this opportunity to be here for this TEDx talk. I remember I got this call from a lady, and she said that, we want you to be a part of this TEDx talk, and we would like you to share a PowerPoint presentation with us. I said, awesome. My belief is that you use a PowerPoint when you don't have power in your own point. You know, if you believe in what you say, you speak from the heart. I've always done that, always will. And that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to share with you my own journey as an entrepreneur. Somebody who comes from the middle class, father was in the armed forces, absolutely hardwired in ourselves that a job is the only thing that you need to do. And your own business is something uh, which is not something that you can venture into. And I think this is something that's hardwired in a lot of us. I was recently in a college in Delhi University about 2 weeks back, and there were about 1,000 students sitting. And I asked, how many of you want to be entrepreneurs? And just about 5 hands went up. And I asked the others, you're 19, 20, 21 years old. Why do you not want to be entrepreneurs? And the single biggest reason that came out was, uh, can't take risk. What if we fail? I think failure is such a big taboo in our society. You know, I think a failure is a failure if you make it a full stop. If it's a comma, it's just a bump in the journey. I travel from, say, Pune to Bombay on the highway. I hit a bump. That does not mean that's the end of the journey. I hit a traffic jam. That does not mean it's the end of the journey. Unfortunately, we look at failure as a taboo. Now, as an entrepreneur, a lot of people feel that an entrepreneur is a guy who puts his own money, starts his own business. I believe entrepreneurship is a state of mind. You can be an entrepreneur when you work for somebody else. That's a state of mind where you believe that you want to try and innovate new things. Now, if you park this thought on one side and let's look at the other side of it. As an organization, today knowledge is no longer power. Knowledge is available on the internet. Yes, no. Go onto the internet, search whatever you want to search, you can get everything that's available. Now it's what you do with this knowledge. How do you build an organization that will innovate? Now innovation is the big thing that is going to drive or change organizations or change the face of industry. When we started Multifit about uh, 50 months back, people told me it's not going to work. Gyms without treadmills and cross trainers will not work, cannot scale. It took us 17 months to hit first 1,000 members. And each of those 17 months, I had a couple of people who walk up to me who give free advice. Samir, drop this, add treadmills, add cross trainers, and you'll stop bleeding. If I would have accepted that as a failure at that point of time, we won't have reached from those 1,000 members to 1 lakh members today. So from the 17th month, where we were 1,000 members, to the 50th month, where we've added 99,000 more. A lot of times people I questioned myself, am I doing this right? And I think all of us as a society, we believe that failure in itself is an end. It isn't. And I don't know how to explain this to young people because it's so hardwired in us that when we go today into a job, even if somebody tells you it's okay to fail, you'll say, no, boss, let me just toe the line. Let me not experiment, because if I experiment, I will fail. If you look at, this is the talent pool you've got, which doesn't want to fail, which is scared of failing, and you need to create an organization which will innovate and try new things. How do you get these to marry each other? How do you get these people to believe, man, it's okay to fail? It's just a comma. Let's try something new. How do you do that? How do you create this? So, my belief is that the cost of innovation is the organizational ability to accept and embrace failure. Celebrate failure. So one of the key criteria for my direct reports in the organization is they have to show one big failure in a year. If they can't, they're not eligible for a promotion, they're not eligible for a hike, they're not eligible for anything. So you need to show me one big failure. Why? It's not lip service. You have to show that you've tried something new. I can give you numerous things that where we failed, miserably failed. Now, one of the things was we said that, because we didn't have these treadmills, because we did not have all these, all the sort of fancy equipment, where you've got a nice treadmill with a 20-inch, TV screen. And I really can't understand why people would want to go to to a gym or a treadmill to watch a movie. I mean, you're running on the treadmill. Why do you need your TV? Do you not have a TV at home? But so be it. That was the idea, that you need a nice looking treadmill to work out on. So we had to move away from the hardware, which is the equipment, to software, which is the people. So we changed the complete way we operated. We said the soul of our gym is in our trainers. Now the trainers need to innovate. Everybody needs to innovate constantly because you constrain the environment. You've said no longer can a trainer stand behind a treadmill and say that, walk on this for 10 minutes. Difficult. What was my biggest first failure? Biggest first failure was hired people from industry with a lot of experience. Bombed. It's so difficult to unlearn. Every 15 days I would be told we need to add this piece of equipment, we need to add that piece of equipment. And what they're saying is, now I want to make this very sector agnostic. So don't look at the gym. Every time you get somebody who's done it before in a particular way, he wants to do it the exact same way because he feels that's the only way to succeed. But that's not the case. How do you change it? The only way you will change it if you challenge the basics and say, okay, this is not there with you. Now what do you do? I'm not giving you a treadmill. I'm not giving you this. I'm not giving you that. What do you do then? So you get people to innovate. One of our trainers came up with this idea where we said, okay, we need to build a community. We cannot be like a normal gym. So I always say, for a lack of a better word, we are a gym. We are actually a community. Now, if you're making a community, the success of the community is to move away from member to trainer engagement or trainer to member engagement to member engagement. You with me? So moving away from, I am the trainer, this is the member, I engage with the member. A community will be built when this member and that member who don't work for me are members, they become a community. So a lot of people came up with ideas. One of the ideas that came up from one of the trainers was, let's start doing coffee mornings. Now coffee mornings was, we would have people work out, they will come in, and then we will give them coffee, we'll chit chat and talk about goals. Bombed. Absolutely bombed. Did not work. We tried it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. But the guy who tried it did not give up. The reason is nobody was judging him for his failure. Nobody was judging him that, you've tried this stupid experiment and you've got 20 cups of coffee, and guess what? 20 people worked out and 3 stayed back. The rest 17 went off. Imagine how embarrassing it would be for somebody. And you always feel that's a failure. It's not a failure. Because we did not judge him, he came up with another idea. And the idea was called Breakfast with Brent. And that became a super duper hit property. The aim was exactly the same. We wanted to engage member to member and do it via our own people. But we changed the venue. What we did was, we realized people are, so people, when they come to the gym, they come to work out and leave, change, leave for work, leave for whatever. So it won't work on a working day. We never realized that. We thought people will like freshly brewed coffee. Well, they were always short of time. Breakfast with Brent was a property which was started on Sundays then. So on Sundays, we would go to a different venue altogether, do a nice, awesome workout, have breakfast, and guess what? This time, the members were even paying for the breakfast. We were giving free coffee, nobody was coming. We shifted the entire paradigm and people started coming for this. So you were building the community. The idea was always to build the community in a way where your members engage with members. Multiple issues like this have come up with us where we've seen trainers try new things and fail. But what happens is, you will try 10 new things. You will fail in 8. But the 2 that you succeed in will more than overcompensate for the 8 that you failed in. I think this is something that needs to be driven home. For everybody who's getting into a job or becoming an entrepreneur, eventually, entrepreneurship is a state of mind where you continuously evolve. So one of the ways of doing, you're a class-based gym, typical class-based gym would say, okay, this is the board, these are the classes, so 5 burpees, 10 squats, 12 push-ups, XYZ is written. A trainer goes in, speaks this, and you're done with your training. Now that's very, very monotonous for the trainer. Let's look at the trainer now. Let's not look at the biggest consumer, the biggest customer is your internal customer, my trainer. Now my trainer says, what good am I as a trainer? You're going to tell me what I'm supposed to do. I'm going to do that. Why don't you get somebody else to do this? You don't need me to be a trainer. And true, you don't need to be a trainer to ask people to do this. People can read or you can scream and people can do it. You don't need to be a trainer. So how do we make our trainers engaged? We made a broader framework, gave people elbow room, space. Okay, so we are focusing on quads. So this exercise is supposed to have 3 or 4 exercises of quads, 2, 3 of core, all this together. And we designed a curriculum called QCD, Qualified Circuit Designer. Now these guys would sit down and make their own circuit. Now what does that do for my consumer? What does it do for my consumer? My consumer, if he attends my session versus your session versus the third person's session, is going to be different. The biggest problem in the journey to fitness is monotony. You don't want to do the same thing again and again and again. How many of us have enrolled in gyms and walked out after a month and a half? Most. And the reason is because it becomes monotonous. So once you drive this thing of trying to make fitness as your favorite sport, you will try to get engagement. There are lots of problems we've faced in the past where, we've just said, I don't know what to do, to solve this problem. And one of the things is, Saturday mornings is ghost town in every gym. Why is Saturday morning a ghost town in the gyms? Everybody is doing bicep curls previous night, right? So after the bicep curls, you don't want to go and do your gym again in the morning. So what you do is, you probably do something different. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, Saturday mornings, every single football ground, cricket ground is hammered, packed. People are playing cricket and football. So why are they not coming to the gym? Because they want to do something different. A weekend is meant to do something different. It's more fun. As much as you may like people to believe a workout is fun, a lot of people are doing workout because they've been asked to do workout, right? How do you shift it to they want to do the workout? So one of our trainers came up with this idea of saying that, why don't we make our entire thing experience on Saturday more like a sport? So if I'll just play a small video for you. And this is what was done in the gym. So what's different here? You just made fitness into a sport. All of us have done this as kids. All of us have done this. We have played these small sports. It's fun. It's not a workout, but still a workout. Why did this happen? Because I believe that every single person in the organization has a brain, has a mind. Let them use it. Let them try, and they are the ones who are facing the customers. So in any industry where you are, and forget fitness, any industry where you are, innovation is going to be the key, and innovation is going to come from people who are on ground. And the only way people will innovate is when you